Following the name announcement of Meghan Markle's long-awaited podcast, fans took to Twitter to share comparison with the Archetypes book by author Caroline Myss. Royal fans have drawn comparisons over Meghan Markle's forthcoming podcast Archetypes with a book, with some accusing her of copying the idea. The Duchess of Sussex announced the name of her podcast yesterday along with a preview about its content, which aims to dissect, explore and subvert the labels that try to hold women back. The name of the title, which is assumed to continue the theme of the Archie brand, drew users on Twitter to find a book of the same name, Archetypes, Who Are You? By author Caroline Myss. As well as the name, some fans drew similarities to the content with Meghan's podcast looking at how media reflects women back to us and stereotypes as Ms Myss' book highlights 10 personality types. These personality types, called archetypes, help people learn which one they fall into and helps them better understand themselves. In the description, the primary archetypes that have emerged in today's society, the caregiver, the artist/creative, the fashionista, the intellectual, the rebel, the queen/executive, the advocate, the visionary, the athlete, and the spiritual seeker. Many users said they were looking to read the book and compare it with Meghan's podcast, once it has been released this summer. One user said, "My guess is Meghan read this book and copied her entire podcast idea from it." Another commented, "I didn't know such a word/book existed. I thought was playing off the words Archie and Archie, their son's name." Others were noting words on the cover of the book and its description on Amazon, noting the words rebel, visionary, fashionista, queen to describe Meghan. Some of Meghan's fans hit back at claims over the idea being taken from Ms Myss' book by saying she is not the first person to use the term archetypes, which was envisioned by Swiss psychiatrist Carl Jung. A user responded, "So anyone anywhere who discusses archetypes is plagiarizing Caroline Myss? I guess archetypes didn't exist prior to Myss' publication of the book in 2013? Someone better explain this to those wacky guys Carl Jung and Joseph Campbell." The podcast series, Archetypes, is slated to debut this summer on Spotify. It's the first production to land on Spotify under the streaming service's exclusive deal inked in 2020 with Archie Audio, the production company formed by Prince Harry and Markle. Throughout the series, Markle will speak with historians, experts and special guests to uncover the origin of these stereotypes and how they shape narratives in the culture. In the audio teaser for Archetypes released Thursday on Spotify, listen below, Markle sheds some light on her focus for the weekly podcast. "This is Archetypes, the podcast where we dissect, explore and subvert the labels that try to hold women back," Markle says. "This is how we talk about women, the words that raise our girls, and how the media reflects women back to us," she says. But where do these stereotypes come from? And how do they keep showing up and defining our lives? Last week, Archie said it was proceeding with plans to produce Markle's first podcast after the couple was encouraged by talks with Spotify leadership to address the problem of COVID misinformation and transparency on the platform. Archie did not name Joe Rogan, whose popular podcast triggered a boycott of Spotify by artists and creators protesting COVID misinformation on the Joe Rogan Experience. In partnering with Spotify, Archie Audio has committed to producing programming that uplifts and entertains audiences around the world, spotlights diverse perspectives and voices, and builds community through shared experience, narratives and values. To date, it has produced only a 33-minute 2020 holiday audio special for Spotify. Archetypes will be produced by Archie Audio in partnership with Spotify's Gimlet Media. Markle, Ben Browning, Archie's head of content, and Rebecca Sonanez, Archie's head of audio, will serve as executive producers alongside Spotify's Dawn Ostroff, Courtney Holt and Julie McNamara. The podcast teaser was produced in partnership with Little Everywhere, a production house led by Jane Marie,